Hello my friends, today we are making a cute little fall card using the Woodland Friends collection from Spellbinders. This is an all-inclusive suite of products, but it's all a la carte, so each item is available individually rather than a whole set together. I like that because you don't feel pressured into purchasing a whole big lot of items. You know, if you just like sequins, you can buy just sequins. And that's one thing I love about projects like this is I don't feel pressured to purchase a whole lot of things. So that being said, we are going to use the BetterPress, of course, because that's what I love. So I'm going to use this little tiny die from the BetterPress, or press plate, should I say. And I'm going to line it up using my grid marks here. And we're going to make a border along our A2 card. So I'm going to look at this straight on and line it up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to line it up along this line right here. Because then I'm going to move it down and line it up with that line again. And that way, it's okay if it hangs over up here and down here, but we want this to be continuous here. So let's see how this works. And I want to see just barely a little bit black there, just barely a little black there, and then I will feel good about it lining up when I do it the other way. So let's see how that does. So I'm going to take my tawny brown BetterPress ink, and I'm going to go ahead and just ink this up. And if you notice when you go over it the first time, a lot of times there's little areas that aren't inked well. So just keep going, and if you have to twist a little bit, go ahead and twist. And lots of little pats to make sure you have really good plate coverage on your plate. And take your time with this if you're having any kind of problems getting complete coverage. That looks good to me. If you're concerned about this ink transferring, for me it usually doesn't, but if for some reason you struggle with that, because I mean I've had it transfer before, but you can take your microfiber cloth and just kind of wipe it off like that. Usually it doesn't transfer. So I'm going to tape that on there, and I'm going to run it through my Platinum 6 that I have right here on the left hand side of me. Run it through real quick and pull it back out, and let's see what we got. Okay, so here we've got one, and I would say that's a pretty darn good start. So now I'm just going to move this down here, and I'm going to do the same exact thing. I'm going to line this up to where I'm right on that black line, and I'm right on this black line. See here, little black on top, little black on the side. All right, gonna ink her back up again. I finally, when I was on vacation, I actually finally re-inked my BetterPress ink pads. Can you believe it? If you follow my channel, I have said so many times in videos, I still haven't inked my ink pads. So if you're new to my channel, you can start laughing now. You know, the joke is on me. But I just finally have re-inked them, and it is very nice. I'm not sitting here struggling to get anything inked, because if you struggle, it's probably they're a little dry. But so I'm gonna flip this back over now, and let's get our second imprint. Super easy. Okay, let's see how we did on the lining up. All right, look at there. Doesn't that look great? Okay, so I can sit the BetterPress aside. We are done with it. I'm going to take that off our panel. I'm going to go ahead and clean this real quick, or at least get it marinating, as I like to say, with my LDRS Extreme Clean. I like to at least marinate it so it doesn't stain as much when I get to cleaning it. There we go. And we'll clean that afterwards. Okay, so this is our card base. And now what we're going to do is we're going to use this piece of acetate. See here? It's got a piece of acetate and it's got gold lettering on it. And I thought this was kind of pretty, just like that, when I put that on there. And then I thought also this little strip of paper from the paper pad looked really nice right along there, just to be different. I just wanted something different. And I don't use acetate very much, but I really like the classiness of this gold in the paper and the gold in the acetate and the texture from the bark that is better pressed. So I want to put those like that. And then we are going to ink up some flowers, and we're going to put a flower right here. So I'm going to sit that aside and we'll pull out our flower. There's two shapes, so you can choose to do two of the same if you want to, if you wanted to alternate them, or they're made to actually do one on top of the other like so. Now I've actually, in one of mine samples, which I will show you my samples towards the end here, but I actually did one where I doubled it like that. And so if you want a bigger flower with more petals, or wider petal span, you can do that. Or you can take the smaller one and you can do that. So just for different looks. So how about we ink up 3 petals and we see what we think. So I'm using Grapevine here from Altenew Fresh Dye Inks and one of my Altenew ink blenders. And I'm just going to ink off a little bit there. And I don't have my blending brushes out. Not mine, I mean my Waffle Flower Grip Mat out. I'm just going to do this as is. Just hold on to it and do it as is. And I'm going to leave a little bit of the white space on the edges. I think that looks nice. You can go a little darker in the center if you want to. There, that looks pretty. Now I was kind of going for the pull of the burgundy along the sides there. So, and that is going to dry back some. So you might want to put a little heavier hand on it, because it just depends on how, getting a soft pink there on the edges, but not all the way. There we go. So, okay, so I'll do the other ones real quick. Alrighty. Just use that ink right off the glass mat like that. Touch that center just a little bit more. Okay. Then I can go ahead and do this one too. This one would be on top if we end up doing this one on top. Really just matters at what preference you want your looking on the flower on the front of your card. Just personal preference. No right or wrong. There's never any right or wrong in crafting. It's just what you are looking for. Okay. Let me wipe that ink up real quick off our craft mat. want that on the back of our card, do we? Okay, and I had actually pre-inked a little flower center just to save a little time. I actually had an extra one left over, so I cheated. So I'm going to go ahead and grab me some glue, and we'll go ahead and put this on our edge here. And we'll glue our acetate right on. Make sure our English is going the right direction. And we got our gold film, or our gold language. It's not really legible, but you know what I mean. Go in the right direction. And that will probably take a little time to dry because it is acetate. But we're going to cover it up with this little binding piece. Kind of makes it look like a book binding. I just thought I kind of liked the little accent. So made the card look a little different. And I like different. I like to be different. Really classy looking. I've got another card using this. If you saw my up close video of the release, I shared it with you. If not, you're in for a treat because it turned out really nice, if I do say so myself. I have, I believe, 4 other samples I'm going to share with you with this collection, so stick around. We're almost there. And all of the supplies I've used today are linked down below in a visual supply list. So it's a one-click and you can go over and see all the photos of everything I've used to make it super easy to pinpoint that 1 or 2 items that you might be interested or looking for more information on. Those links do support me in my efforts, so thank you. Thank you for using them whenever possible. Let's see. I think I like it about there. And then let's see how we want to do the flower. Do we want the little one? Now this flower does have a couple extra pieces that go right along here, and I think there's another one right there. I think that is the reason I chose to do it this way, was because I hadn't die cut out those little pieces. So I think I'm going to do that again. And I want the fuller flower. Let's see. Like so. And then we'll put that right there. And there we go. That's the look I'm going for right there. So let's do that. But just know, if you want the extra definition, you can add those extra little pieces. But I wanted the white tips on mine, on the edges, which is what I was going after. Let's see, do I want the darker? I think I want the darker one on top. So let's put this one down right here. And we do have wiggle room because it's acetate. You should have a little extra time to work here because you're on plastic. So let's put that one there. Okay, so if you want to lift it up a little bit, you can. See that? It's always nice. And then we'll put this little cute little center right here, like so. And then we've got a pretty little card. Now, I also have a sentiment that I have made for it, and I've stacked this sentiment 3 thick. So I just made a couple blanks, and it says, "There is beauty in new beginnings." And I thought that was perfect for our little flower because it is a beautiful little thing. And you gotta appreciate the little things in life, right? So I'm gonna sit it a little offset here to the right and put it like right there. And it is done. This is, even though this is a BetterPress sentiment from this same set here that we use the bark out of, or yeah, the wood grain. These sentiments come down here, and I just hot foiled this one. It comes with the dies also for the hot foil. It also comes with this adorable cardinal, and I'm going to show you my cardinal that I watercolored here in just a moment. Okay, so there is our finished card for today, and it's on that acetate sheet, and it's just really classy looking. A little busy, but pretty. So there's our card. So let me show you my other samples real quick. Here's number 1. This is number 2. I took some of the die cuts from the die cut pack, and I popped them up with some foam tape and added a emerald cut die cut here behind it. And this is a piece of the vellum right here, and it has a white backing. I went ahead and put a white piece behind it, like a white cardstock behind it, so it would pop a little bit. And then I used the die cut sentiments for Wonderful You. So all together, it looks really nice all together. And it has some dimension. Rather than just flat from these die cuts, you can just add a little bit of dimension. And this gives it texture. And this is gorgeous. This vellum is just gorgeous, and it feels glorious. So that's card number 2. This is card number 3. It's the one that kind of coordinates with this one. Love this paper from the paper pad. And I've used the fern die cut here, the same sentiment set that from the BetterPress set that I hot foiled. I use the wax seal with the fern. I don't know if you can see that, but you can see the fern there that coordinates with the die. And then this is from my stash. It was from last month's release. I believe that's, is it Wendy Vecchi's set or Lisa Horton's? It is Lisa Horton's set called Nested Tree Frames. This is the Nested Tree Frame from Lisa Horton. And then this is from a stem set that I had previous to my stash. That's an older set, but I just inked my paper and that to match each other, and it just coordinated nicely. And then look at my cardinal. I changed my cardinal up to coordinate with my papers. I love this fall 12 by 12. I did a 5 by 7 here, so I used the 12 by 12 paper pack, and I just love this. I used the embossing folder here, the 3D embossing folder, and I used the coordinating dies that we have already in our stash. That is the fresh picked dies. It coordinates with this shape in here in the embossing folder. So I made a frame out of the embossing folder. But I better pressed here. I used watercolor paper, and I better pressed the cardinal, and then I colored the cardinal, coordinating it with the paper using my Altenew watercolors. And then I die cut it out, and then I re-embossed it to get my texture back. Another sentiment from that same BetterPress set, and I used some of the coordinating gems with the gold sparkles in them. And of course I used the new treasured mirror cardstock, the treasured cardstock pack. And I just love how he turned out. And I know his colors aren't traditional, but you know, in Melanie land, my little fantasy world, my art is not always traditional. So that's that one. And then this one here is also featuring the fresh picked label and tag set that coordinates with this embossing folder. I inked the 3D embossing folder, And then I have inked the sprigs. I used another one of those same hot foiled BetterPress plates. And on this one, I put the fox inside this new plastic dome shaker card. You can see that it does have raised about 1/4 of an inch from your card base. And I used the gold sequins inside from the collection. And he is just dreaming about those butterflies. And it says, little things make big moments. So these are my 5 cards from this collection. Like I said, I loved this collection. It is such a joy to work with. So thank you, Spellbinders, for sending it to me. And like I said, anybody that is interested in any of the products, they are linked in the visual supply list down below. If you have any questions about any of these products, do not hesitate to reach out to me. I'm always here for questions. I can brainstorm with you, and feel free to join my Facebook group. It is called Craft Life Together with Spellbinders and more. So see you over there to craft life with you. Bye bye, my friends.